Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math.
I'm Sean Gannon, and this is Minute Math, and today we're learning about two-step equations with integers. We're going to solve each equation. Now, if I was given this equation, r over 10 plus 4 equals 5, all right? Well, I want to get r by itself, so to do that, I need to subtract a 4 first to both sides. Subtract a 4, and we're left with, well, the 4's cancel, so r over 10 by itself on the left. 5 minus 4 is 1. Now, r is being divided by 10, opposite of division is multiplication. So if I multiply both sides by 10 here, 10's cancel, giving me r by itself. Now 1 times 10 is 10. And so our final answer here is just r equals 10. N over 2 plus 5 is equal to 3. Well, I want to get n by itself here, so I first need to bring the 5 over to the right. Opposite of addition, subtraction. I subtract a 5 to both sides. This leaves me with an n over 2 by itself, because the 5 cancels on the left, and 3 minus 5 is a negative 2. Now, I want to still get n by itself, so where it's being divided by 2, opposite division is multiplication, multiply both sides by 2. 2's cancel, giving me n by itself. Now, negative 2 times positive 2 is a negative 4, and so our final answer here is n equals negative 4. 3p minus 2 equals negative 29. I want to get p by itself. First step, add 2 to both sides. Opposite of subtraction. 3p just comes down, the 2's cancel, right? And we're left with negative 29 plus 2 is a negative 27. Now we want to divide 3 to both sides because, well, 3p is really 3 times p. This gets the 3's to be canceled, getting p by itself, our ultimate goal. Negative 27 divided by 3 is negative 9. And so our final answer here is just p equals negative 1 minus r equals a negative 5. I want to get r by itself. We have a positive 1 right here. Opposite of that positive 1 is a negative 1. So if I subtract a 1 to both sides, this makes it a little tricky. The 1's will cancel, giving me a negative r left over. Negative 5 minus 1 is a negative 6 here. All right? So now we have negative r equals a negative 6. If I multiply both sides by a negative 1, the negatives will cancel here and leave me with a positive r by itself. Negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6, because the negative times the negative is a positive. And so our final answer is r equals 6. K minus 10 over 2 equals a negative 7. I want to get k by itself. First thing is we're being divided by 2 here, right? Opposite of division is multiplication. So if I multiply 2 to both sides, the 2's cancel, leaving me with a k minus 10 on the left. Negative 7 times 2 is a negative 14. Now, to get k, again, all the way by itself, opposite of subtraction is addition, I'm going to add a 10 to both sides. This cancels a 10 out there, giving me k by itself, and negative 14 plus 10 is a negative 4. And so my final answer here is k equals a negative 4. Quick. N minus 5 over 2 equals 5. First step, I need to multiply 2 to both sides. We're divided by 2, opposite of division is multiplication. These 2's cancel, leaving me with n minus 5 by itself on the left. 5 times 2, 10 on the right. Now, subtraction by 5, or subtracting by 5. Opposite of that is addition. If we add a 5 to both sides, we're left with n by itself. The 5's cancel. 10 plus 5 is 15, and so my final answer here is n equals 15. Negative 9 plus n over 4 is equal to negative 7. First step is actually I have to deal with this negative 9. I want to add a 9 to both sides. That will eliminate the 9 on the left, leaving me n over 4 on the left. Negative 7 plus 9 is a positive 2. Now, we're dividing by 4, so opposite division is multiplication. multiply 4 to both sides now. 4's cancel, leaving me, right, with n by itself. All right? 2 times 4 is 8, and so my final answer is n equals 8. 9 plus m over 3 equals 2. First thing I want to do is to get, overall goal, get m by itself. To do that, we're dividing by 3 here. Opposite division, multiplication. Multiply both sides by 3. 3's cancel, leaving me with 9 plus m on the left. 2 times 3 is 6. All right? Now we're adding a 9, opposite addition, subtraction. So I subtract a 9 to both sides. This gives me m by itself because the 9's will cancel. And 6 minus 9 is a negative 3. And so my final answer is m equals a negative 3. Negative 5 plus x over 22 equals a negative 1. First thing I want to do is multiply both sides by 22. Since we're dividing by 22, the opposite's multiplication. This cancels the 22 out, leaving me 5 plus x on the left. Now, negative 1 times 22 is a negative 22. From there, we have a negative 5 plus x. To eliminate the negative 5, I'm going to add a 5 to both sides. This cancels out the 5, giving me x by itself, which is what we wanted there. And on the right here, we have our final answer. Well, negative 22 plus 5 is a negative 17. And so our final answer is x equals a negative 17. 4n minus 9 equals a negative 9. First step, I want to add a 9 to both sides. That leaves me the 4n by itself. Negative 9 plus 9 is a 0. Now it gets kind of tricky, but pay attention. 4 times n, opposite of multiplication is division. Divide both sides by 4. 4's cancel, giving me n by itself. 0 divided by 4 is 0. And so my final answer here is n equals 0. X plus 9 over 2 equals 3. All right? Well, I want to get x by itself. So to do that, first step is multiply both sides by 2. Since we're dividing by 2, opposite of division is multiplication. 2's cancel, leaving me x plus 9 equals 3 times 2, which is 6. Then we're adding 9, so opposite of addition, subtraction. I subtract a 9 to both sides. This gives me, right, 9's cancel, x by itself here, and 6 minus 9 is a negative 3. And so my final answer here is x equals a negative 3. Negative 12 plus x over 11 equals a negative 3. We're dividing by 11 there. Opposite of division, multiplication. I multiply both sides by 11. The 11's get eliminated, giving me a negative 12 plus x on the left. On the right, negative 3 times 11 is negative 33. We now have negative 12 plus x there. Opposite of that negative 12 is a positive 12. So if I add a 12 to both sides here, the 12's get eliminated, leaving me x by itself, which is what I want. Negative 33 plus 12 is a negative 21, and so my final answer is x equals a negative 21. Negative 4 plus x over 2 equals 6. First thing I want to do is multiply 2 to both sides. That eliminates a 2 in the denominator there, leaving me negative 4 plus x by itself on the left. 6 times 2 is 12. Now a negative 4. To get rid of that, I add a 4 to both sides. That leaves me, right, with x by itself, which is what I want there. And 12 plus 4 is 16. And so my final answer here is x equals a 16. Negative 5 plus n over 3 equal to 0. First step, I want to add a 5 to both sides. We have a negative 5 there, so opposite of that is a positive 5. That cancels, leaving me n over 3 by itself on the left. 0 plus 5 is 5. All right? Now we're dividing by 3, so opposite of division is multiplication. Multiply both sides by 3. 3's cancel, give me n by itself here, and 5 times 3 is 15. And so my final answer is n equals 15. p over 4 plus 8 equals 7. First thing I want to do is subtract an 8 to both sides, because that's the opposite of the addition. 8's cancel, leaving me with p over 4 by itself on the left. Now 7 minus 8 is a negative 1. Divided by 4, opposite of division, multiplication. Multiply both sides by 4. 4's cancel on the left, giving me p by itself, and negative 1 times 4 is a negative 4. So our final answer here is p equals a negative 4. 9 plus n over 4 equals 15. First thing I want to do here is to subtract both sides by 9. This will eliminate the 9 on the left, giving me n over 4 on the left. Now 15 minus 9 is 6. So n over 4 equals 6 now. Well, we're dividing by 4, opposite of division, multiplication. Multiply both sides by 4. That gives me n by itself, and 6 times 4 is a 24. So my final answer is n equals 24. If I was given this equation, 6 plus x over 2 equals 4. All right? First step, I want to subtract a 6 to both sides. That eliminates a 6 on the left, giving me x over 2 by itself on the left. Now, 4 minus 6 is a negative 2. We're dividing by 2 here. Opposite of division, multiplication. So I multiply both sides by 2. This 2 gets canceled out, and we have x by itself here. And negative 2 times positive 2 is a negative 4. And so my final answer here is x equals a negative. b plus 11 over 3 equals a negative 2. First thing I want to do here is multiply both sides by 3. Since we're dividing by 3, the opposite of division being multiplication, that will eliminate that 3 in the denominator. We're left with b plus 11 by itself on the left, and negative 2 times 3 being a negative 6 on the right. Now, we subtract 11 to both sides, because opposite of addition, subtraction. 11's cancel, giving me b by itself on the left. Negative 6 minus 11 is a negative 17. And so our final answer is b equals a negative 17. a minus 10 over 3 equals a negative 4. The first thing I want to do is multiply both sides by 3. Since we're dividing by 3, when I multiply by 3 to both sides, that will eliminate the 3 in the denominator. I have a minus 10 left on the left. Negative 4 times 3 is a negative 12. All right. Now we're subtracting a 10 here, so opposite of subtraction is addition. So if I add a 10, the 10's cancel right there, leaving me a by itself, and negative 12 plus 10 is a negative 2. So my final answer is a equals a negative 2. Negative 12 r plus 4 equals 100. First thing I want to do is subtract a 4 to both sides. 4's get canceled, and we're left with negative 12r here on the left. 100 minus 4 is a 96. All right? Now we're being multiplied by a negative 12 there, so opposite multiplication is division. Negative 12 being divided to both sides eliminates the negative 12s here, giving me r by itself. Now positive divided by a negative is a negative. All right, and 96 divided by 12 is an 8. And so our final answer is r equals a negative 8. m over 16 minus 9 equals a negative 8. First thing I want to do is add a 9 to both sides. Since we're subtracting by 9, the opposite is adding by 9. 9's eliminate, we're left with m over 16 on the left here. Negative 8 plus 9 is a positive 1 on the right. Now, divided by 16, opposite of division, multiplication. Multiply 16 to both sides. 16's cancel, leaving me m by itself on the left, and 1 times 16 on the right, which is 16. So my final answer is just m equals 16. Negative 7 plus 4r equals negative 15. First thing I want to do is add a 7 to both sides. Since we're subtracting it in a sense there, if I add a 7, it will eliminate the negative 7 there. All right. We have 4r on the left here, and negative 15, all right, oh sorry, I'm adding a 7, almost messed up there. Negative 15 plus 7 is a negative 8, all right. Now we're just dividing by 4 to both sides. That will give us r by itself, because, well, we're multiplying by 4, opposite multiplication is division. So r is by itself, and negative 8 divided by 4 is a negative 2. So my final answer is r equals a negative 2. M minus 13 over 2 equals a negative 8. All right. Well, the first thing I want to do is multiply both sides by 2. Since we're dividing by 2, the opposite of division being multiplication, this will eliminate the 2's on the left. I have m minus 13 now on the left. Now, negative 8 times 2 is a negative 16. All right. Well, now we have m minus 13. Opposite of subtraction is addition. If I add 13 to both sides, 13's on the left cancel, give me m by itself on the left. On the right, negative 16 plus 13 is a negative 3. So my final answer is m equals a negative 3. Negative 5x plus 13 equals a negative 7. All right. Well, first step I want to do here is I want to subtract a 13 to both sides. Since we're adding a 13 there, if I subtract a 13, it will eliminate that from the left. Negative 5x is what's left on the left, and negative 17 minus 13 is a negative 30. All right. Now we're multiplied by negative 5 here, so opposite of multiplication, division. Divide by negative 5 to both sides. The negative 5's cancel, giving me x by itself on the left. On the right, negative 30 divided by negative 5 is a positive 6. So my final answer is x equals 6. K plus 10 over a negative 2 equals 5. Well, I'm divided by negative 2 right there. Opposite of division is multiplication. So if I multiply both sides by negative 2, the negative 2 in the denominator will be eliminated. That gives me a k plus 10 left in the numerator. Now, 5 times negative 2 is a negative 10 here. All right? So now we have k plus 10 equals negative 10. Opposite of addition, subtraction. So if I subtract a 10 to both sides here, the 10's cancel on the left, giving me k by itself, and negative 10 minus 10 is a negative 20. And so my final answer here is k equals a negative 20. P plus 8 over a negative 2 is equal to 10. First thing I want to do here is multiply both sides by negative 2. What that does is eliminates negative 2 in the denominator right there. That gives me p plus 8 by itself on the left. Now 10 times negative 2 is a negative 20 on the right. Now p plus 8 equals negative 20. We're adding an 8 here. Opposite of addition, subtraction. Subtract 8 to both sides. 8's eliminate on the left, giving me p by itself on the left. Negative 20 minus 8 is a negative 28. And so my final answer is p equals a negative 28. Negative 14r minus 19 equals 303. First thing I want to do is add a 19 to both sides. That will eliminate the 19 on the left, giving me on the left by itself negative 14r. Now 303 plus 19 is 322. All right. So now we have multiplied negative 14 times r. Opposite multiplication, division. Divide both sides by negative 14. And this gives us r by itself on the left. 322 divided by negative 14 is a negative 23. Remember, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So our final answer is r equals a negative 23. X over negative 4 minus 5 equals a negative 8. Well, I'm subtracting a 5 here. Opposite of subtraction is addition. So my first step is adding a 5 to both sides. The 5's on the left will be eliminated, leaving me x over negative 4 on the left. Negative 8 plus 5 is a negative 3. Now, x divided by negative 4. Opposite division, multiplication. Multiply -4 to both sides. -4 gets canceled out, giving me x by itself on the left. -3 times a -4 is a positive 12. Remember, negative times a negative is a positive. So again, our final answer is x equals positive 12.
Minute Math, Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. Minute Math, Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. MinuteMathTutor.com.